Alright, I've removed all the primer and paint all the way down to the metal, most of the car. Taking it all the way down to the metal. It's been sprayed with a rust converter just to kind of stop the process, get this rust under control, and then go back and make sure that it's encapsulated and taken care of. Right here, the tail light panel has been taken off. After that, I'm going to clean up those bumper brackets, which are right here. Need to be removed, cleaned up on the other side as well. Dolly up the rest of the sheet metal that's around there, and then get the new piece. Get the new piece up here prepared for the pre-drill it for the spot welds, and then go ahead and test fit that. Put the deck lid back on, and then make sure it fits real good before welding it in the spot. Okay. So I've ground down these welds. It's not spot welded since the main frame member runs under. There's no way to get in there. So they just welded on top. And a little easy way to get these out. You have a little chisel. It's kind of already loose. Put the other side pretty easy. Put a chisel in there. Sorry, I'm holding the camera at the same time. Little tap. Pops that right loose. There's a couple that you can do, but working from ground them down on the outside, and then working them from the inside out like that. That helps out a lot. So, hope this video. Hope that helps. All right. After getting these loose, they are pretty nasty. Go ahead and get a pair of those. They are really inexpensive online. Cleaned up the area, and I'm going to move on to getting that tail light plate installed. This is the first really rough fit. I want to make sure it's centered. I really want to make sure that I got all the burrs and everything from the old panel out, and that it gets a good fit. It looks pretty good. It got it centered up. Got the height where it follows across right into the next body mark. I put the deck lid on. The deck lid needs help beyond belief, but I really wanted to make sure the body lines were good before I went and tacked this whole thing in to make sure that I don't need to, push or pull the quarters. I just want to make sure everything fits right. So I'm real pleased with this. I'm going to go ahead and get the surface behind here. This is the bottom of the tail. Behind here, I need to prime with this, weld through primer. Looks like every about 1.5 inches they had weld marks, so I have to weld those in. These are the screw holes for the rear valance. So obviously not using those, but about every 1.5 inches it looked like what they were using as welds. And then on the outside here, you can see all the factory welds. They went kind of crazy right around here on the corner. So I'm gonna get that fixed up, get it prepped for welding, get it tacked in, do one more fit, of course, and see how that goes. All right. This is the rear tailpiece section out. I went through and cleaned it all up, got it ready for the spot welds. Again, these holes right here that come from the factory, this parts has pre-drilled holes, and that's for the valance screws to go through. So went through, it came out close to 1.5 inches, but I put about 1 inch off center each side, and then these came in about 1 3/8 inches. But it's close count to what the factory had there as spot welds all along the way. So drilled those in, and then cleaned them all up, front and back side, ready for that. As well as the rest of this, went over the spot welds, marked where they were. This part right here, in the very section, very center, is they print it, it's straight. But if you look right here, this is where the fuel filler and the cap to the lock for the hood or the trunk goes. It is on the outside of this frame bar. So you got to take that lip. It's hard to see how much you got to do that by. But bend that out and notch that so it comes up and over just enough so that the rest of the panel sits flush. Just wanted to mention that right before I put it in, and get a couple of tacks on there, get it checked up one more time. Is getting left to right. Measured off of, I want this tank obviously centered, key centered, so measured off to the edge. Same thing both sides. Close the hood, make sure everything looked all right. So I'm really happy with everything that fits. It is a little disconcerting when you're right back here, this weld-through primer right here. That's the tab that should line up with that. It doesn't. But again, it's measured off of that center, and I've done that several times to get that to match up. And then I made sure that the height was right. It isn't. It is right flush with that body line. This piece right here, there is a gap. I'll take a little piece of metal and I will make that arc work. But the same thing on this side. But when you put the panel, when you put this on, it's going to hide all the, not hide it, but that piece of metal isn't going to have to be exactly perfect. It's not going to have to be exactly perfect. It will need to come in the corner here. I can still weld. I can still weld right there. You can see my kids' art in the back on the dusty refrigerator. But all this is lined up, and I think I'm ready to say that's good. All right, well that takes care of the taillight panel. There's a little bit more, just a little bit more touching up with the grinder. But that takes care of that. It turned out really nice. Everything still fits really well. It's all welded and lines up. I'm really happy with how that turned out. Next problem is this quarter panel. It looked like it was, when I first got a hold of this, it looked like it was just solid rust. From the inside it looks like it was more like pulling some dents or something, but down here is definitely rusted. That you can see the other panel, need to get that cleaned up, and if there's no holes in it, just need to clean the rest of that surface rust off. And then I've drawn my line for my panel, used some tin snips just to get in there and see what it looked like, see how bad that was. But be cutting that off. It's just a patch panel. Same thing, and be moving on next step. All right.